welcome to Answers from the Arc, a new podcast for the families, team members and friends of the Arc Eastern Connecticut. I'm your host, Brian Scott Smith. We're here to answer your questions about what's going on during the coronavirus pandemic, and to help us do that, I'm joined on this very first podcast by Kathleen Stauffer, CEO of the Arc Eastern Connecticut, and because of social distancing, she joins me now via Zoom. So Kathleen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Brian.
So what are some of the biggest challenges the Arc Eastern Connecticut is facing right now because of the coronavirus pandemic?
There really is a primary issue that we're facing: health and safety, health and safety, health and safety. That is always our primary challenge. It's always our priority, and it is no less so now. In fact, it is just a critical thing that the whole agency is focused on. The other thing we're very, very interested in is making sure that our team members feel supported, that people understand that this is an interlude, that we will be up and running as normal as soon as possible. And the needs of not just the families and the people we serve, but of our team of talented professionals is first and foremost in our minds all the time.
So tell us, if you would, what are you doing to keep everyone safe? I'm sure there's lots of rules and regulations you're having to follow.
Well, DDS has very clear protocols, and for the most part, these are protocols we would be doing anyway. We are, of course, following these to the letter. They're common sense. We also are keeping very closely in touch. I have a conference call every day with other chapters of the ARC in the state of Connecticut. The ARC of the United States has been very active, not just in advocating for the rights of people with IDD at this time and for direct support professionals, but where they're also bringing in webinars, for example, experts from the CDC. So we're availing ourselves of the best information that we have on a daily basis. And agency-wide in residential, there are daily temperature checks going on. General health checks are going on. We are having virtual meetings. I'm having meetings with the C-suite. The C-suite members are having meetings with the D-suite. And all of the residential managers are connected to one another. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, because we've got some technological supports to make that happen. And I also want to make very clear that the PPE, the personal protective equipment situation, is not great, but we began buying PPE months ago, before people realized that there might be a challenge in this area. And I have to say, our Chief Quality Officer and Operations Officer, Lori Herring, was on that early. And so Lori told me recently, every day that goes by where everybody stays healthy, I thank God for that. So we are doing everything we can every day to just keep people as healthy as we possibly can.
That's obviously a very important news to hear. Now, there's a few questions that have come in from parents. I just want to put a couple of those to you. First question is, I'm a parent of a young man with IDD. He's really confused that he can't go to his program or his job. It's exhausting for both of us. What's the best thing I can do for him right now?
Well, we're going to give you some supports and some means of addressing these challenges. I'm sure that you're not the only parent out there with this concern. I've been hearing from parents. I know that if you're reading the newspaper or you're watching the news, you're seeing stories that many parents are finding themselves in this situation. And there are reports on Facebook. I had an email from a parent who said, my daughter had a very hard day today. She's very lonely and depressed. And those kinds of messages, and the parent who wrote in, first, we want to hear from you. We want to know what your challenges are. We're here to serve you. The Arc Eastern Connecticut was founded 6 decades ago to provide for this community what it needs when it needs it. So when I'm hearing these kinds of concerns and I'm learning of these types of difficulties, we have a very talented team here at the Arc Eastern Connecticut. Every single member of the team is here to serve. And so we are rolling out supports on a regular basis. We began with daily calls from the day program. We now have Zoom room technology where people who we serve can chat with one another to ease this isolation that I think pretty much everybody is feeling. We're all equal in that. I know that we've been posting Facebook activities, so please go to the Arc Eastern Connecticut Facebook page. And I'm really very excited to say that within the space of just a couple of days and hearing how challenging this was becoming for parents, we have built a virtual adventure page. This is virtual programming, and I'm looking at the page right now while I'm chatting to you. And you just go to the arcect.org and you look at activities for you. It's right there on the homepage. You click that page. It's going to take a little bit of time to load because there's a lot of great stuff on there. Everything from group exercise classes to 5-minute meditations, karate classes, all of this at no charge, a class from Yale, the science of well-being. And then we just, understand that everybody really is, with this social distancing, kind of needing to feel that they can go outdoors in a way that's safe, even if they're not able to actually go outdoors. So we've got a whole lot of fun on here too, but also educational learning. The New England Aquarium, I actually went in there. You can see all of the beautiful fish swimming around, virtual tours of national parks. You can see Yosemite. You just choose the park that you would like to go through, and you can tour a tour of Buckingham Palace. And we are updating this on a weekly basis, and this is not just out there for the people we serve. I would hope that our team members would avail themselves of a pick-me-up if they would need it. And really, our community has been so generous to us through the years. This is kind of the Arc Eastern Connecticut's gift to the community at this challenging time.
That is just amazing stuff to have all of that accessible at your fingertips. So congratulations, obviously, on what sounds like what's going to be a hugely successful, obviously, part of the Arc Eastern Connecticut's website there. I want to put another question to you while I have you on. And again, from another parent, I'm missing visiting with my daughter. When will things get back to normal?
Well, I think we all hope things will get back to normal soon. However, that isn't, I'm sorry to say, a guarantee. We are following the governor's orders. Jordan Sheff, the commissioner of the Department of Developmental Disabilities, orders. And I'm sorry to say, but I think necessarily so, the governor has extended his no visit order as of today, April 9th. And so we will need to honor that. Now, the good news is every single residential home has iPad technology. We encourage families to engage in virtual chats. You can have family get-togethers through FaceTime or some other chat technology. You can use Zoom Room, for example, and so also Zoom. So please avail yourself of technology options that we have rolled out. All of the 23 homes are connected to one another so that residential managers can support one another, so that the people who live in those houses, who know one another, who have really been a family for so many years, can also be there for one another. So please know we're doing everything that we can virtually. We're doing it safely. And I hope that all of the parents will avail themselves of all of the things that technology can bear right now. We really need this support. We need one another, and we're here for you. We want you to know that we support your being with your child in that way at this time.
Just want to say, obviously, technology playing such a huge role in so many things. Obviously, the Arc Eastern Connecticut, very fortunate that you have such a great IT sort of infrastructure. And obviously, you've got the ability and the talent there to, to roll all of this out, because I'm guessing that's not an easy thing to do either.
Well, from quality and operational integrity to supporting our employees in the Human Resources Department to the development folks who are working actively with our programming people and our day programs and our residential programs to find content out there, to the IT department that really makes all of this work. And by the way, when the IT department is installing this equipment, they're using the same protocols that are being prescribed by the DDS and also by the governor of this state. So there again, that's where PPE, personal protective equipment, comes in. But I have to say, I think we have the most talented team out there. And at a time like this, I'm not just grateful for the patients of the families and the people we serve, but I am very grateful for the talent and the dedication of every single person on our team here at the ARC, from the direct support professionals right up to the C-suite.
That's a great message, obviously, for them to hear. I've got another question from a parent. It says, I appreciate everything the ARC does for people with IDD. As a member of the public, though, how can I help?
Well, thank you for that. That's a very touching offer, and we appreciate it. I think the first thing that you can do, we are, in fact, a community, and we are only as healthy as one another can stay. And so, please stay at home. Please take care of yourself. Try to eat healthy food. Try to stay active in the context that is safe for you and the community that you live in. Please practice social distancing. Wash your hands for 30 seconds. There are a lot of people wearing masks. If you need a little help with that, maybe we can put up a video on how to make your own mask. If you can just work with us to flatten the curve, that will go a very, very long way. Also at the Arc Eastern Connecticut website, the arcect.org, you will see a pandemic update. And we are constantly, on a daily basis, sometimes updating that. So if you want to know what the latest information on this pandemic is to keep yourself educated and as safe as possible, please visit us there and avail yourselves of that. Something else you can do, quite frankly, we could use things like puzzles and games and coloring books. If you would be kind enough to leave items like that at the door in a bag outside 125 Sachem Street in Norwich, Connecticut, or at 687 Cook Hill Road in Danielson, and to leave those things out between 9 a.m. and noon, we would be very, very grateful. We have a lot of people in the community who've joined groups to make masks for the Arc Eastern Connecticut. If you are interested in that, please give us a call. Call Andrea Kaiser, 860-889-4435, and ask for further information. You can make a donation if you're able to do that at the arcect.org/donate. Some things that really go a long way, I have to say, is even when people are sending in questions, this kind of connection means a lot to us. We're happy to be here for you to provide support, and notes of good cheer that might be mailed to us that we can share with our direct support professionals and our hardworking leaders. That really buoys our spirits, and you can send those to 125 Sachem Street in Norwich, Connecticut, 06360. And please know also, we've postponed some fundraisers for some very important programs, our Community Life and Advocacy program, which in ordinary times provides so much important social contact and classes for people who we serve. If you could just continue to support those fundraisers, even though they've had to be postponed, that would mean the world to us. And of course, our local businesses who are so supportive of us all year round, we're all trying to support them in as safe a way as possible, but we are supporting our local businesses, and tell them the Arc Eastern Connecticut sent you.
Kathleen, it's been a real pleasure talking to you, and I know you and your team are incredibly busy, obviously making sure that everyone stays safe, that the Arc Eastern Connecticut looks after. So thank you to you and your team for everything that you're continuing to do, and we hope obviously that this coronavirus pandemic will be over soon and that life can return to some sort of normalcy. But in the meantime, please stay safe, and thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you, Brian.
That's all from this edition. If you have questions, then send them to answers@thearcect.org, and we'll include them in future podcasts. And don't forget, you can get all the latest information about the coronavirus and what the Arc Eastern Connecticut is doing at their website, thearcect.org. Thanks for listening, stay safe, and we'll have another Answers from the Arc podcast for you soon. Bye for now.